Hey guys, this is Solution PODFIC, and today we're going to be reading Bring Your Kid to Work Day by Lazy Art Girl. This is Chapter 3. Wally was buzzing with excitement. Literally. He just met Wonder Woman and Superman. Sure, he was an adult man, but it was Wonder Woman and Superman. When Diana left to go inform Batman of today's events, Aquaman arrived with a young man followed behind him. Arthur, Jean greeted, his deep voice rumbling, having taken on as the welcoming community since Diana left. "We're so glad you could make it, and you brought a guest." "Yes," Arthur smiled in return. "This is Calderon." "It is an honor to meet you, sir," said the young Atlantean. "There's no need to call me Sir, Calderon." "Then please, call me Calder." Wally buzzed over to the new arrivals. "Hello, Your Majesty. You're looking as good as always. And you, welcome. The name's Wally West, a.k.a. Kid Flash, the fastest kid around." "Wally," his Uncle Barry scolded. "Slow down there, kiddo." He also had rushed forward, finally having finished scolding Hal. "Oops. Judging by their confused faces, I must have spoke too fast." "Oops, my bad. I do go a little fast when I get excited," Wally said sheepishly. Uncle Barry greeted the king and the young man also. Arthur replied, "It is good to see you too, Flash, but I must ask, is there a problem that needs to be handled over there?" He tilted his head towards Superman and Black Canary was still scolding Hal. Flash stroked the back of his neck. No. Diana's taking care of the worst of it." "Oh, man, you'll never guess who just showed up," Wally exclaimed. "Who?" Aquaman inquired. "Batman." The king's eyes widened slightly in surprise and looked over to John for confirmation. John nodded. Aquaman glanced around the room. Superman and Black Canary were still lecturing Green Arrow while Green Arrow was attempting to be the cool uncle, who was aiming to shoot an apple off the head of Superboy, the younger. The kid was grinning like crazy with excitement while the older Superboy stood off to the side glaring at the Emerald Archer. Artemis and Arsenal were chatting to each other, most likely making fun of their mentor. Not seeing Batman, he asked, "Where is he then?" "That's the problem." "That's the problem," Wally responded. "Hal chose not to tell Batman about today, and he showed up, but he didn't come, and so Wonder Woman figured out he didn't know. So we questioned Hal because, he was supposed to be the one in charge of telling Batman, and it turns out he never told Batman because he was too scared of him. Well, he didn't say that was the reason, but we all know that's true, because that's why Superman and Black Canary are yelling at him, and why Uncle B was. Wonder Woman did too, and man, she is one scary lady, but then she left to go tell Batman about it because Bring Your Kid to Work Day, which isn't even the best name since almost none of us are your guys' kids. I mean, I get the sentiment, but still, and half of us are too old to be considered Wally." Uncle B chided him again. Wally grinned sheepishly. "I apologize for my nephew. He tends to ramble when he's excited. But did you get the gist of that?" "I believe so," Arthur replied. Green Arrow did not do the responsibility he was given, but Batman happened to show up anyways, and Wonder Woman is currently talking with Batman about the situation. "Yes," Jean affirmed. "Hey, Calder!" Wally suddenly exclaimed. "Want to meet everyone?" Calder looked to his king, who nodded in allowance. "Yes, it would be my honor to meet the heroes of Earth." "Okay, let's go." Wally felt a little awkward at Calder's formalness. Calder stepped forward, and Wally turned towards the others, expecting to see what became of Oliver's trick, but he was instead greeted by a face covered with the black domino mask and the biggest smile. "Ah!" Wally squeaked in startlement. His sudden squeal grabbed the attention of the rest of the league, who quickly took the defensive stances at the sudden appearance of someone they didn't know. Connell stood protectively in front of John, and the three archers held bows, aimed and loaded. And Aquaman held a scepter at the neck of the man dressed in a tight formal black combat outfit that had a bright blue bird across his chest and matching blue streaks across his knuckles. Nightwing!" Wally exclaimed. Roy also shouted his name. "Hey, KF, Arsenal, everyone else." His friend greeted them, apparently unbothered by all the sharp weapons pointed at him. "Stand down, everyone," Barry spoke in a calm voice. "I know who this is." Slowly, weapons were lowered but not put away. Wally was in shock. "Why are you here? How are you here?" They were on the watchtower. No one who wasn't supposed to get in. Nightwing, being a dick, chuckled. "Dude, it's Bring Your Kid to Work Day. No way am I ever going to miss this." He said it like it was the most obvious thing in the world. Uncle B stepped forward and warily spoke. "Nightwing, how did you get up here?" "Oh, Baby Bird hacked the system. He's with the others guarding all the exits to make sure Batman does escape." "Oh, hey, B!" Nightwing suddenly shouted towards the doorway. Everyone turned to look to find Batman frozen mid-step, staring directly at the uninvited vigilante. There was a moment's pause before Batman spoke. "No." And he quickly continued walking. Nightwing sighed. Bringing his hand up to his ear, he spoke. Big Bird to Baby Bird. The target is on the move. Last seen heading in your direction. Through Nightwing's communication device came another voice. Baby Bird to Big Bird. Target has been spotted. Initializing apprehension of target. Hold up, Superman demanded. Are you trying to kidnap Batman? Nightwing grinned. Nope, just making sure he doesn't leave. Who do you think you are, thinking you can keep us contained? Hal demanded. Oh, we don't care about you. Just Batman. Wally didn't know where his friend was going with this, but he had seen Nightwing use that same grin before, and he did not like it. He was honestly surprised no one had tried attacking his friend yet, but he guessed they trusted his uncle to vouch for him enough. Or maybe they were just too confused to do anything. Wally sure knew he was. A sudden noise of scuffle brought everyone's attention back to the entrance to the room. Batman was currently being pushed in by several masked individuals. Masked individuals who were definitely too small to be fully grown adults. Did Batman just get taken hostage by kids? Wally couldn't make out how many there were, or what each one even looked like. They were either huddled too close to each other or blocked from view by Batman's large figure. He could tell most of them were short enough to be teenagers or younger. There was one dressed in yellow, a taller one with a bright red biker helmet, one dressed in purple, two with the yellow R emblems on the chest, and one that Wally was pretty sure was an actual shadow come to life. After being pushed into the room, Batman looked around the room before suddenly turning around, only to find his exit still being blocked by his kidnappers. Unhand Batman, this Superman was cut off by Batman. Stand down. They aren't here to attack the League. This resulted in several inquiries from the League and their protégés. Batman? What is going on? Who are these people? That one said they hacked the system. How is that possible? Batman held up his hand. Enough. Hal began, but he stopped talking when Batman turned his infamous bat glare on him. Man, it's so nice to see that glare on someone other than us for once. The one dressed in red with a black cowl, without the bat ears, and cape, and a weird-shaped yellow R spoke. Wait, Rob? Superboy Sr. spoke up. The kid gave an awkward wave in acknowledgement. Batman turned around to glare at his kidnappers. The man with the biker jacket and red helmet smacked the previous speaker. You had to jinx it, didn't you, replacement? Hey! Hood, don't hit your brother, Batman growled. Before they could respond, he continued, Anyone care to tell me why you decided to break into the watchtower? The girl, clothed entirely in purple with a black mask covering her whole face, cheerfully spoke. Because it's Bring Your Kid to Work Day, so here we are. The biker with the red helmet and guns piped up. Nothing but another crowbar to the head was going to stop me from seeing this mess. OMG, are they someone's kids? Wally looked around the room, trying to figure out who. He saw the other League members looking at one another. Maybe it's someone who's kind of new to the League, or just a part-timer. Wally looked at Nightwing, trying to recall anything he had said about a family. He knew Dick had a lot of siblings, and the only time he could recall them talking about a parent was whenever he made that joke. About his dad being... Oh, God. Before Wally could finish his thought, Aquaman said, Batman, who do these children belong to? Batman sighed, hesitating to answer. They're mine. The silence on the watchtower was deafening. There was no movement or sound. They're what? Did he just say what I think he just said? You have kids? I don't know. What did you hear him say? No. That those kids are his? What? Okay, yeah, I heard that too. They're yours? Yep. One of his children replied. Wally couldn't tell which one spoke, but he could have sworn he heard Batman mumble, unfortunately, under his breath. What's going on here? Everyone turned once again to the entrance to the cafeteria. Diana had returned from the control room. Oh my goddess, the young man in the red helmet stage whispered. Tch, the smallest one of the kids piped up. Stop making a fool of yourself, Hood. It's an embarrassment to Father. Father? One of the women questioned, speaking out loud what everyone else was thinking. Batman cleared his throat as each of the intruders, his kids, turned their heads to Batman as if they were waiting to make sure he said the correct thing. Batman glanced at all the faces staring at him before speaking. These are my children. Diana's mouth dropped open for a moment before she closed it. Taking a moment to process what was just said, one woman responded. I was unaware you had children, Batman. Yeah, you and everyone else, Green Arrow muttered. All of Batman's children began to laugh immediately. No children? He wishes. Yeah, he's always complaining we're the reason he has gray hair. I blame Goldie for that. Hey! Incompetent fools. The shadow Wally had seen earlier suddenly moved. A hand reaching out appeared and flicked the nose of the child. Rude. The boy slightly flinched as the shadow became still. There was some snickering from the other children. Wally could see now the figure was female, wearing all black with a cape and cowl like Batman's. Her outfit was nearly identical to Batman except her belt and the bat symbol were gold, and her mask had stitched fabric over her mouth. The shadow girl turned to Batman, her father, and spoke again in her soft childlike voice. Introductions. Diana cleared her throat. Yes, I believe introductions would be beneficial for everyone. Yes, this is... Batman was suddenly cut off by Nightwing. Of course, silly us, not introducing ourselves first. Nightwing reprimanded himself. I'm Nightwing, Batman's first love child with justice. He said it with such pride, Wally almost missed his friend's mischievous grin that meant he was joking. Not everyone else got it as a joke, judging by their confused faces. Batman sighed and held his head in the palm of his hand. He's trying to be funny. The kids laughed again when Nightwing pouted that he was too funny. No, you're not, dummy, the biker interjected. He wore black and gray Kevlar with a leather jacket. There was a bat symbol crudely painted on his chest in the same shade of red as his helmet, with the paint drips like blood, the bright white lenses on his mask, and the various guns and knives strapped to his personnel. The guy looked highly dangerous. I'm Red Hood, Batman's second oldest. As he spoke, he removed his helmet to reveal a young face with a domino mask, like Nightwing, except red. There was a streak of white hair within his black hair. Red Hood. That name sounds familiar, Wally thought. The shadow girl lightly smacked Red Hood. I older. She spoke with confidence despite how young she sounded. No, you're not, Hood protested. Batman sighed. He lifted his head from his hand to speak. This is my daughter, Black Bat. She and Hood are the same age. His favorite, Black Bat said. I don't have a favorite. Yes, you do, all the children shouted. Batman shook his head as he placed it back in his hand, but not before Wally could have sworn there was a smile on the Dark Knight's face. I'm Red Robin, the next kid spoke. He wore black combat pants and red Kevlar shirt. He wore a black cape and an earless cowl. His golden utility belt was crisscrossed across his chest, forming a V. A golden R shaped like a bird was at the center. I'm Batman's fourth child. I'm a spoiler, the girl in purple exclaimed cheerfully. Her Kevlar outfit and cape were entirely a dark purple. She wore a black mask with white lenses that covered her face entirely. Long strands of blonde hair fell through from underneath her purple hood. I am not one of Batman's kids. Then why do you always sleep in my house, eat all my food, and spend my money? Batman muttered. Because I'm a poor college student and you're too much of a pushover to say no. Spoiler responded as if it was the most obvious thing in the world, which it wasn't. Batman only grunted in response. Well, I guess I'm up next. The teenager wore a black and yellow Kevlar suit, making him stand out against his siblings who all wore mostly dark-colored attire. That and what little of his skin was showing looked African-American. My codename is Signal, and I'm actually not one of the kids either. Technically you are, Red Robin said. What does that mean? Questioned Black Canary. Batman spoke up again. I'm fostering him. Batman is a foster parent? Okay, time out, cried Green Lantern. Does no one else have a problem with this? The other members of the League just stood there and looked confused by Hal's outburst. What does that mean, Hal? Black Canary accused him. Spooky having kids! What else would you think I mean? Hal exclaimed. Am I the only one not bothered by that? Excuse me? Batman said, sounding offended. How dare you speak of my father that way? The smallest of the kids cried out in outrage. The kid pulled out his sword, which was almost as long as he was. His siblings made no movement to stop the kid as he pointed at Green Lantern. In fact, they looked angry too. Their glares were as deadly as Batman's was. Robin, stand down, Batman ordered. But father, Robin? The child lowered his weapon, though he did not look happy about it. I don't think you need to worry about them, Hal, Wally found himself saying. I've known Nightwing for several years now. Heck, he's my best friend. I trust him with my life. While I didn't know him being Batman's kid... Dude, I told you multiple times that Batman was my dad. I thought you were joking, Wally protested. Anyways, despite not knowing who his family was, he's never spoke of anything but love for them. I've also met Nightwing, Uncle Barry added. I had actually thought about introducing him to the League for a while now. I even mentioned it to Diana earlier today. Really? Nightwing grinned. Hood snorted. That's a terrible idea. Hey! Diana interrupted them. That is true, Hal. I understand your concern. I must admit, I was worried too at first. But that was before they introduced themselves. My sisters Donna, Artemis, and Cassie have met Nightwing, Red Hood, and Red Robin. They speak of them as close friends and worthy companions in battle. I did not know of their connections to Batman, or even each other. Nor do I believe my sisters do. Arsenal spoke of knowing Red Hood, and Connell spoke of knowing Red Robin. With each person that spoke of knowing the Bats, everyone became more relaxed. Once everyone calmed back down, the smallest of Batman's children introduced himself. I am Robin, son of Batman and the youngest of the siblings. It is nice to meet all of you, and a pleasure to be able to put the faces to the names I've heard so much about. Diana smiled. As I'm sure you already know, I am Diana of the Mascara. It is an honor to meet you, Wonder Woman, Nightwing responded. It's great to meet all of you. Batman's told us a lot about you. Batman talks about us. Superman asked, pleasantly surprised. Of course, Nightwing responded. That, and we've read all the mission reports, Red Robin added. I thought only League members had access to the mission reports, King Arthur questioned. That's the way it's supposed to be, Batman grumbled while glaring at his smiling children. You said something about hacking the system? Is that how? Black Canary asked. Yep. There were some worried glances passed between the League members. Batman quickly reassured them. Our system is still secure. Then how come a bunch of kids were able to get in? Exclaimed Green Arrow. Hey, we're not kids. Because there isn't a system in the universe they can't get into, Batman stated. This caused the kids to smile at their father. It made some of the League members smile to hear Batman brag about his kids. Green Arrow looked like he was about to say something more, but he was interrupted by the arrival of Donna and Cassie. Both looked surprised by the amount of people there. Did I accidentally go on another multi-dimensional trip again? Donna asked. At the same time, Cassie asked, Rob, what are you doing here? The introductions of everyone happened all over again. Diana had guessed right that her sisters were unaware of their friends' relation to Batman, and to each other. After they were reintroduced, the other League members introduced themselves and their protégés. Most of them knew each other already, but no one knew of the individual Aquaman had brought. This is Calderon. The Atlantean king spoke. I have struggled with balancing the responsibilities of being both a king and a member of the Justice League. I have discussed this with some of you already about the importance of having an Atlantean representative on the surface. With much thought, I have decided to step down from being a member of the Justice League. I have been training Calder here to take my place. Shocked faces rippled through the crowd. Flash whined. You're leaving us? Arthur chuckled. Do not worry, friend. It will still be some time now before I leave. More members of the League spoke about their support for the king's decision, some asking if it was also because of his unborn child. Arthur had admitted that it did affect his decision. Everyone greeted Calder, welcoming him and saying that they looked forward to getting to know him better. So, now that the introductions are done, does that mean that we can go to the party now? The younger Superboy asked. Superman laughed. Yes, John. Everyone conversed with each other. Everyone wanted to talk with Batman's kids and with the Atlanteans. Robin had an intriguing conversation with Diana about ancient Greek culture and warfare. Spoiler had a blast talking with Black Canary about defensive maneuvers. Hal was seen laughing at whatever Red Hood told him, and Black Bat was seen having a silent conversation with Jean. Red Robin discussed politics with Aquaman, and Nightwing and Signal conversed with the Superman and Flash. Later, when Robin and Superboy were seen talking to each other, Spoiler had exclaimed, Aw, look how cute they look together. Robin had not been happy with being called cute. The day was full of laughs and mischief, of course caused by the bats. By the end of the gathering, Bali and his uncle both had their plates of food stolen, a combined total of 14 times. All of the arrows from Arsenal and Green Arrow's quiver had been switched with each other. Superman and Superboy Jr. had their capes switched around, leaving Superman with a tiny cape and John drowning in his father's larger cape. And Hal had his ring stolen 4 times. Everyone was enjoying themselves, even when they were the unsuspecting victims of the pranks. Watching the kids pull pranks on Batman made up for it. Batman had his belt stolen twice, and his gloves once. Wally had no idea how they managed to get Batman's gloves without him noticing, but they did. It was also hilarious to see the young vigilantes physically drag or push their father around with them, and force him to be part of their conversations. Superman spoke. This was really fun. Yes, Wonder Woman agreed. We should have more gatherings together. Maybe even invite the rest of everyone's families. You have no idea what you're asking for, do you? Batman said, sounding tired. What do we not know? Superman asked. There was a moment of silence as they looked at each other, grinning. Signal spoke up. There's more of us. What? Alright guys, and that is the end of Bring Your Kid to Work Day by Lazy Art Girl. I hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you next video.